This is 3 of the most cruel narcissistic behaviors that you don't believe is already happening. Let's learn more about the intricate concept of proximity. It is difficult to discuss because it involves so much more than just sexuality. When individuals consider intimacy, sex is frequently the first thing that comes to mind. Nevertheless, sexuality is only a minor part of a much larger equation. According to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM, and its understanding of how people function, closeness is the ability and willingness to establish and maintain satisfying relationships with other people in various aspects of life. This could be an intimate romantic relationship, a close friendship, or a business connection. The most essential characteristic of an intimate friendship is that it remains close and significant over time. The DSM-5 now includes intimacy disorders in its classification of personality disorders. Intimacy disorders consist of narcissism and closely related disorders characterized by conflict, antagonism, and dysregulation. Because they have a superficial approach to forming relationships, narcissists find it difficult to form meaningful bonds with others. Even when they initially claim to desire intimate relationships, their limited ability to maintain them over time is a significant issue. Additionally, there is a negative belief that placing effort into relationships will result in negative outcomes. People with narcissistic or comparable personality styles typically look down on intimacy. Often unconsciously, they believe that relationships are harmful in and of themselves. Therefore, individuals with narcissism frequently believe that close relationships are not important or safe, making it difficult for them to form attachments. The selfish personality type believes that developing an intimate relationship with someone is a waste of time, not worth the risk or effort, and irrelevant. But they desire close relationships despite the fact that they appear as if they don't care and view depth and closeness as threats to their ego, the likelihood of being let down, and the likelihood of being left alone. Therefore, averting intimacy in romantic relationships is a conundrum for them. Narcissists typically sexually present themselves and rely on seduction and sexual stimulation to feel good about themselves. For them, sexual behavior is an act that prioritizes appearance over genuine connection. It may also be manipulative, controlling, and guilt-inducing. In narcissistic relationships, sexual boundaries are unclear, making it difficult to define intimacy. Aside from sex, intimacy is about developing substance, consistency, value, and proximity through effort and vulnerability. Typically, narcissists do not comprehend this. From a narcissistic perspective, sex is the ultimate sign of connection, so its absence could indicate a lack of emotional closeness. The narcissistic partner may believe that sexual activity is sufficient for intimacy and that emotional depth is unnecessary. This indicates that other crucial aspects of intimate relationships are absent. People in these types of narcissistic relationships frequently perceive sex as a place of deception and power struggles, as opposed to a place of connection and safety. Even though sex may be a component of intimacy, it lacks significance if it is not embedded in a deeper relationship. Therefore, the issue is, where is the intimacy in an egocentric relationship? It does not, and that is the correct response. Oftentimes, narcissistic relationships are characterized by love bombing, mimicry, and a deceptive sense of shared experiences, which may include sexual encounters. Nonetheless, it is essential to keep in mind that genuine intimacy requires depth and stability, which a narcissistic relationship lacks. Initially, a narcissist's intense interest and activity can make it difficult to recognize genuine intimacy. With time, however, it becomes apparent that a narcissistic relationship lacks intimacy. This feeling is the result of superficial conversations, a lack of profound connections, a lack of interest in your true self, and avoiding conversations about deeper emotions. When discussing these topics, you may be met with disdain, resistance, denial, derision, or gaslighting. In my previous film about breadcrumbing, I discussed how narcissists use psychology to engage you emotionally while preventing you from getting too close. This type of manipulation is subtle and increases mental separation. Many people eventually recognize that their relationship with a narcissist is based on avoiding closeness, and they become uncomfortable with sexual activities. People in narcissistic relationships frequently feel as though they are living with a stranger because they have routines, but do not feel close, vulnerable, or trustworthy. This type of shallowness is like having sexual relations with a stranger, which is unpleasant. Dr. Douglas Weiss coined the term intimacy anorexia to characterize a lack of intimacy with a partner. This behavior is not explicitly linked to narcissism by Weiss. Instead, he connects it to manipulation and pressure patterns. Nevertheless, many of the patterns Weiss identified in intimacy nervosa are also present in narcissistic relationships. Among these characteristics are culpable partners who do not provide their partners with affection, praise, feelings, or sex, and who criticize and control them financially, causing their partners to be perpetual too busy. According to Weiss, many of these characteristics are caused by bonding issues. As relationship issues are the underlying cause of narcissism, it makes logical that patterns of intimacy anorexia would be comparable. True closeness is frequently withheld in narcissistic relationships, which is frequently not noticed by those involved. This dearth of identification develops over time, despite the continuity of activities such as dining out, celebrating holidays, and taking vacations together. Individuals with narcissism may perceive themselves as extroverts and detest solitude. They seek individuals to fulfill their narcissistic needs rather than forming long-lasting, intimate relationships based on respect and kindness, which are essential for genuine intimacy. Simply because you know many individuals does not imply that you are close to them. As our conceptions of closeness evolve, it becomes increasingly apparent that people with narcissistic personality disorder and related patterns lack intimate relationships. Narcissists may appear to be the life of the party, but their tendency to be superficial makes it difficult to develop relationships beyond the superficial level. This trend is irritating, and it causes narcissistic relationships to feel void of closeness and intimacy. These arid regions are exacerbated by blame, manipulation, pressure, and control. Those who have been in a relationship with a narcissist are aware that intimacy has been absent for quite some time. A lack of intimacy is always the result of avoiding emotional depth and connection, which can be difficult for those who are unfamiliar with it to comprehend. Examining the concept of breadcrumbing clarifies why narcissists avoid intimate relationships. When you reflect on a past relationship with a narcissist, are you astonished by how little they gave, yet it seemed sufficient? Relationships with narcissists are comparable to famine because validation, awareness, comprehension, kindness, respect, compassion, reciprocity, and mutuality are discarded. When someone is attention-starved, they will devour and cherish even the smallest indication of approbation. After months of making them feel ignored and unimportant, many clients have told me how pleased they were when, for example, their partner asked them if they wanted wine or put down their phone at dinner. Breadcrumbs are a method for narcissists to regain the trust of their victims after making them feel insignificant. To explain how they do this, they use the analogy of leaving a trail of breadcrumbs to get a mallard out of the water. The narcissist believes the victim deserves no more than these crumbs and has no intention of truly valuing, encouraging, or respecting the victim. They believe the victim is not worth more than a few scraps in order to maintain their hook in the water. Worst of all, it is effective. These subtle cues are sufficient to convince the target to return. Many individuals believe that breadcrumbing indicates that things are improving. One dinner where the partner isn't glued to their phone, one day without incessant criticism from a mother, or one moment when the toxic friend listens without making it about themselves provides hope for the victim. The stale breadcrumbs indicate to the target that the procedure is still effective, so they should continue to employ it. Narcissists have no regard for intimacy and genuine relationships, and they consider vulnerability to be a sign of frailty. As part of the process of breadcrumbing, they evade doing what is required in a relationship. If the love-bombing phase has ever occurred, the relationship will gradually lose value, which could result in a breakup. As time passes, you receive less support and presence, but narcissists know they can maintain the relationship with small gestures, such as breadcrumbs, so you learn to rely on them. Initially, narcissistic relationships can make you believe that your desires are identical to theirs. They utilize your energy or your shared objectives to make things happen. But when your needs no longer align, they lose interest and the relationship becomes based on fragments. But because it seemed to be more at one point, the meaning becomes ambiguous. Love bombardment is the opposite of breadcrumbing. It entails small deeds of kindness and a great deal of focus. The only acknowledgement is a fleeting halt to bad behavior, or a simple act of kindness that even a stranger would perform. Since these elements were previously absent from the relationship, their return feels like a new beginning and inspires optimism. This hope is what sustains self-centered relationships and compels individuals to pursue the breadcrumb trail. Breadcrumbing is intriguing because it typically occurs when you establish boundaries, withdraw, or lose interest in the connection. It is frustrating to discover that narcissistic partners only observe changes in your behavior when it suits them. They only learn about you when it serves their best interests. Breadcrumbing begins immediately upon gaining strength and establishing limits. Narcissists leave just enough hints for you to begin to question the relationship. Breadcrumbing maintains you in the relationship with minimal effort, and once the question is posed, their breadcrumbs may be sufficient to keep the game going. The use of breadcrumbs has kept egotistical relationships alive for years longer than they should have. Due to the small clues, the victims remained close to the narcissist. People adapt to their circumstances and learn to make do with what they have. Once the narcissist realizes that providing just enough to maintain the victim's interest is all it takes to ensnare them, they will act accordingly. People in selfish relationships frequently acquire the ability to do tasks on their own. They become independent because waiting for the narcissist to take care of their responsibilities is often not worth it. It applies to both minor and major tasks, such as emptying the dishwasher or having children. Waiting for narcissists to contribute will drive victims insane. Typically, narcissists use breadcrumbing to get you to do things for them, such as perform errands or care for their pets and children. These tasks should be completed with the least amount of effort and recognition. But after years of indifference, even a single instance could make you feel as though they are making an effort. These simple items may be used by narcissists to make you believe you cannot ask for more in the relationship. Some individuals fell for this trick and cannot recall a single good deed performed by the narcissist.
Hello everyone, the conclusion in this video, the concept of intimacy is more than just about sex. It involves the ability to form and maintain satisfying relationship in different areas of life, such as romantic relationship, friendship, and business connection. However, individuals with narcissist personality disorder often struggle with intimacy and have difficulty forming meaningful bonds with others. They may view relationships as harmful and believe that putting effort into them will lead to negative outcomes. Narcissists tend to prioritize their own needs and may use sex as a means of gaining validation and control. They may have superficial relationships and struggle to understand the deeper aspect of intimacy. While sex can be a part of intimacy, it lacks significance without emotional depth and connection. Narcissist relationships often lack closeness and genuine intimacy. The narcissist may engage in breadcrumbing, which involves giving small gestures or acts of kindness to keep the victims hooked in relationship. These breadcrumbs may give the victims hope and make them believe that things are improving, even though the relationship lacks substance and true intimacy. Intimacy and sorria, a term coined by Dr. Douglas Weirs, describes a lack of intimacy in a relationship. It shares similarities with narcissist relationships, as both involve patterns of manipulation, control, and withholding of true closeness. In narcissist relationships, there may be a lack of emotional depth, profound connection, and genuine interest in the partner's true self. Victims of narcissist relationship may feel like they are living with a stranger as the relationship lacks vulnerability and trust. Breadcrumbing keeps the victim engaged and reliant on the narcissist even though the relationship lacks genuine intimacy. Narcissists may view vulnerability as a sign of weakness and may avoid the necessary effort required in a relationship. Ultimately, narcissist relationships are characterized by a lack of intimacy, emotional depth, and true connection. The breadcrumbs provided by the narcissist may give the illusion of improvement, but they do not fulfill the genuine need for intimacy and closeness. It is important to recognize these patterns and understand that true intimacy requires mutual respect, kindness, and a willingness to connect on a deeper level. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.